Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. HR Fest Online again. Today with somebody special, Jody Thompson. Hello, Jody.
Hey, it's great to be here today. Thank you.
It's awesome that you are here. You are the CEO and founder of Culture RX, which is the creator of the results only work environment. Am I right?
Yes, you're right. That's exactly right.
So we are going to talk about this very, very interesting topic today, which cannot be more timely than now. But please, before that, everybody heard about it. So it's those acronyms that everybody talks about it. But I'm not sure everybody understands it or everybody understands it in the same way. So please tell us, what is results only work environment?
Thank you. You know, the results only work environment is not very easy to understand because what we do is we try to think of work as a place we go, not something we do. And so when we think about shifting work to something different, we think about flexible work practices. So there's the default location, which is the office, and then anything else I do is flexible. Results only work environment has nothing to do with flexibility. What it is it's a platform of autonomy, every single person autonomous, every single person accountable. And that seems like it would be easy, but it really shakes up everything we think about how we manage people. Because now I am not managing you, where you work, when you work, if you go to the doctor, if you're going to go to your child's play. I, as a manager, do not have any piece in that anymore. You own the work, and so therefore you have the freedom to choose every single day where you're going to do that work, when you're going to do that work, and how you're going to deliver results. That is the results only work environment, autonomous and accountable.
It sounds like an adult relationship.
It really is. People call it the adult workplace because today the way workplaces are set up are more authoritarian, and managers are managing people and they're not very effective at managing work. So it's a very permission granting type of culture, which creates an entitlement culture. And people feel, they do feel like children. They have to ask permission for everything. They get, called on the carpet if they're late. If they want to leave a little early, they have to ask the boss. So it's really broken.
Absolutely.
Not for adults like that, no.
And it gets the fun out of work.
Yeah, it makes work suck. So
maybe that's a good book title.
Yeah, that is a good book. And that's what I thought about way back when I started to create this. It's not the work that sucks. Like, we like our jobs, but it's the way that we're forced to do them that really sucks. And it makes us stressed out, and we have to give up our life, and all of those things that make us feel unhappy or disengaged. And we can actually reinvent that. We can move past that. It's time.
I always thought about that when we look back in past cultures, we are always wondering, like, oh, they didn't wash for weeks. Oh my God. Or how they treated black people, or how they treated women. And I always wondered, what will they say about our times? And nowadays I simply say, these were the times when they hated going to work.
Yes, that's exactly right. People pretend every day. They go to an office and they smile and they have coffee and they know that they have to be nice to people and nice to their coworkers. And so we're constantly putting on an act, and we're not authentic. And we can't be authentic because the rules and guidelines and unwritten rules and all those things are what are binding us together in a place that we're not choosing it. It's being forced on us. So we can't be authentic.
Absolutely. But tell me, because it sounds really good, almost too good to be true. So is the results only work environment, is it good for everybody, or is it good for just a certain kind of people, or is it good for all kinds of professions, or is it only good for that 1% of very creative, very,
Good. That's a good question. People often wonder if results only work environment works for everybody. And let me start by saying first that this has been implemented globally in every industry and all roles, retail, construction workers, call centers, manufacturing line, and all the office positions. So any kind of work you do inside of an office. The bottom line is that if you're accountable to measurable results, why wouldn't every business want their people to be accountable to measurable results? Everybody. And have the freedom to reach those results in a way that actually moves the business forward. So when we say, for example, well, how can a receptionist do that? And what's happening in our brain at that moment is we're thinking, well, the receptionist can't have freedom. They have to be at a certain place at a certain time. Well, yeah, they do. But if you're autonomous, you're making the choice to be where you need to be, when you need to be there to actually get the results of your job. Now, I would ask every manager out there and every HR professional, does every single person in your organization, are they clear about the measurable results of their work as it pertains to the customer? Not you showed up at 8 and stayed till 5, good job. Anybody can do that, it's a rule. But did you actually create a customer experience at the reception area that we can actually identify what that measure is? And guess what? If you decide not to show up, then it's a performance problem. It's not absenteeism or tardiness like we're in grade school. It's you as an adult didn't choose the right location to get to your results. That's the problem. We all can choose the right location depending on our role if we're clear about our measurable results.
So one key aspect that is needed to have it successfully working is measurable results communicated really very, very clearly, isn't it?
Yes, that's true. And what I'm finding is that's what's missing in organizations. We kind of know what our results are, but people are not crystal clear. And so what we default to is putting in time. So if I do my time and I show up and look busy and talk about how busy I am all the time and how stressed out I am and all of that and go to lots of meetings, that looks like work. And so managers do not have to get clear, really, with people about their measurable results because we're measuring work by time and location. And so when I go in and I do implementation workshops, which by the way, right now are all virtual through Zoom, but when we do those workshops, I will ask people, how many of you are crystal clear about the outcomes of your work? I will get about 80% of them saying, I have no idea. But what they do know is what time to come in, what time to leave, and how much vacation they get. That's what they do know.
And so basically you help organizations this very difficult transition from a rule-based, hierarchical, 19th century something into something people might actually love.
Right.
So that sounds like just a tiny, small piece of job.
It seems like it's easy, but
no, it seems like it's very difficult.
It is. We're upending a belief system of how people believe work should happen. And the relationship between managers and people that do work is fundamentally changing in a results-only work environment. You're not giving me permission anymore. You're not managing me, you're managing work, so that's different. And so we figured out a very, I would say, proven and stringent process to help people overcome these old beliefs and start working together in a different way. And you can't just get that by reading a book, or listening to a webinar for an hour. It's very complex. It follows change management protocol, but it's adaptive. It's adaptive change. And your HR professionals out there know what I mean by that. It's like understanding what I need to be doing. I have to buy into it in my heart so that I can actually do something different and change my behavior. A culture takes a long time to sort of overcome inertia and start rolling forward. And what we do is we help disrupt the current state of things so that they start to evolve and move forward. It's fun. It's exhilarating. It's liberating. People say, wow, you know, I've had the best year in my 30 years of my career since I've been in row. I've been more productive. I've been happier, healthier, all of these things. We have got to start moving forward, HR folks, and we can do it. Like right now is the time. Our hair's on fire. Let's go.
Wow, that sounded really like an anthem.
Yeah.
So you have a great job. I could tell you enjoy that. It comes through. But what comes to my mind listening to you is that you have to face organizations where the leaders of that organizations in every level is a leader from the old system when they learned how to play that game, you know. And that game was not necessarily the best for the business. That game was the best for my survival or my company politics or whatever.
Correct. You know, the leadership, the older leadership or leadership that's been in the business for 40 years, whatever that looks like, you're right. They got there in a certain way. They got there by, you know, showing up and being early and staying late and going to a lot of meetings and all that stuff. And so moving past that is very, it's scary, actually. It's terrifying. And so what we look for when we're looking at organizations is we're looking for that leader, that one leader who is a status quo breaker. They know that things need to move forward. They're not afraid to lead. They're not afraid to lead people towards that. They don't need consensus from every leader in their organization. They know that they have enough influence to help move people forward. And what we've found is that sometimes the most, you know, command and control leader can overcome that.
Really?
Yes, but they have to have somebody who leads them through it and helps move them forward. So if I find a CEO, for example, who knows that this is the right way to go for the business, and they can see the future, they can see how productivity will increase, engagement, and all of those things, and they feel that in their gut, they will lead others towards it. And so those are the type of leaders that bring us in. As your HR professionals in Hungary are thinking about, who is that leader that I'm supporting? Like, who is that person? And that's the person that you talk to about something like this, because they hear the song, they hear it, and they want to do better, and they want to disrupt and move forward. That's who we're looking for.
Sounds really amazing. And do you have a number? Is there a business case? So if one company makes 100x now, if they have results on the work environment, how many X will they do? 130, 150, 200, or 70?
It's really interesting. We have obviously a lot of case studies and business results from organizations. We have one organization who grew their top line. So top line growth, 100% in less than 5 years after they implemented with us the results only work environment. We have an organization in Canada, 2,000 people coast to coast in a results only work environment. They're on track to save $30 million over the next 5 years in real estate costs. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of different measures that are very sensitive to the results only work environment. Turnover costs companies a lot of money. Turnover, voluntary turnover practically goes to zero. People stick to this kind of culture. Your involuntary turnover rates go up because it shines a light on non-performance. So do you really want that, right? You want people that are going to actually get clear, do their work, help the organization move forward. Manufacturing. So we did this on a manufacturing line and implemented it, and we saw that their production rate increased 30%. Now, it would have never done that because we control everything so much, and people become complacent instead of competent. They just say, tell me when to take my break, tell me where to put the bolt, and that's all I do. But results-only work environment brings the ownership of the work to the people. That's why businesses start to thrive and do better. And people are engaged and they're intrinsically motivated.
Absolutely. But there's also a backflip to this, isn't it? That once you start really enjoying your job, it's a dream, but also then kind of it starts consuming you. And how do you make sure, or what is your advice keeping up the work-life balance, or having a boundary between private life and work life, especially now that we are in my bedroom and in your living room probably. So the boundaries is very difficult to hold.
Yeah, so in the olden days, we had to make boundaries around everything in order to hold on to our lives. And so in order to get work-life balance, we had to compartmentalize. I'm in the office during these hours, and then when I'm not in the office, I'm not working. Like, this is my time. But results-only work environment is not about work-life balance. It's about life, period. I create my own, whatever that looks like, balance. So if somebody else is controlling my time, I'll never get balance because I always have to ask permission. But if I own all of my time, I don't feel like work is infringing on me anymore because I'm controlling it. And so I can decide, I can say, I know exactly what I need to do. I'm going to get up. I'm going to get a couple presentations done. I'm going to answer some emails. Then I'm going to go for a walk. Then I'm going to go out in my boat for a couple hours. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to answer some more emails. We're all clear about when we need things. We're clear in our communication. And I keep the work flowing along so I don't feel like work is infringing on me anymore. I feel like I own it and I do it when it makes sense, not in an 8 to 5 box.
Exactly. Or what I would like to add to that is that, because I think you and also I am working like that since 5 years ago now. I left the multinational company, so I know both sides. And I think what is important is that you have to consciously plan for the getting energy from non-work related stuff, and that's the same. So it can be the middle of a Monday, which would be in any other time work day. But yeah, the interesting question comes to mind is that, so this what we are talking about is a beautiful word, and in the last 3 months, a lot of things happened that was not results only work environment. It was more not office work anymore.
Right.
But still a step towards these kind of ideas. How do you see that?
I see that not as a step at all. Nothing has changed. The only thing we've done is we've taken the office environment and the office rules and regulations and mindset, and we moved it into our homes. We're still putting in our time. We're still talking about how much time we're putting in. We're still making sure we're available during core hours. All that stuff, nothing's changed. So when people say we're moving forward, I say no, we're not moving forward, because the other piece of that is we're trying to figure out how to get people back in the office when we can. So how has it changed? And so now we went from 2% of the people across the globe working from home to 80% of them working from home. I'm just throwing out a number, lots of people working from home, and we're productive. But I will tell you, and this is for your HR folks out there, when we're making plans to re-enter the workplace, we are regressing. We're trying to retrofit the status quo. So even though we have to think about safety, when we move back, go back into the office, whatever that looks like, what we have to move past is controlling when people do that. Let me choose if the office is a good place for me to work that day. Let me choose if it's half a day, 1 hour, not. But focus with me on the work, not where I work from. I'll tell you when we'll know things changed. We'll know they changed when we're not labeling all that stuff that's not in the office: telework, remote work, work from home worker. What we're saying is the default is the office, so I have to label you if you're not there. When we stop talking about work location, we're going forward.
So what do you think, when will the real turnover begin? So will it be when lots of young people who are more open to these kind of ideas get to that level in companies, or when the economic necessity forces companies to start adopting, or when will be, let's say, 50% of the companies working in ROBA?
So I think the disruption that's happening right now is not advancing our mindsets. And if this doesn't do it, I don't know what can, number one. I feel like the next generations coming up, they are highly collaborative. They can move things around really quickly. They're smart. But the mindset of what we think work is hasn't changed. They're still going to think, yeah, you know, I could do it this different way, but I need to go in the office. Why do I need to go in the office? Because my manager says I collaborate better there. Even though it's not true. Or my manager says the best relationships are built face to face. Or my manager says, you know, the customer really wants to know you're in the office. There's all of these things that aren't going away. Until we break that and start rewiring our brains to think about lives in a totally different way, we're not going forward. I don't see that happening for decades. Unless you're in the results only work environment, then you've broken through it and you're on the other side.
Yeah, and then you start not understanding why other people don't do it. It's so when I'm going meeting in an office, I was always like, what are you doing here? Come on.
Right, right. Yeah, you would think people would really be jumping on, but I think you have it right. It's not easy to give up some of those beliefs, and it's not easy to imagine what it could be like on the other side. I like to say it's kind of like before you have a baby. You think you know what it's going to be like, but you don't know, because when it happens, you're like, what the heck is this? Like, how did this happen to my life? It's very different than what you could ever imagine. And so it's a leap of faith, really.
Yeah.
It's wanting it bad enough to go through the pain of change so that you can get to the other side.
Yeah, and like a baby, it's the best thing that you can have in your life.
Right.
Last question. So what is your, let's imagine an HR director in a mid-size 500 to few thousand employee company in Hungary who just loves what you said and wants to do something about that in a traditional company. What can he or she do to start the process without getting fired?
That's a really good question, because people have gotten fired for pushing this agenda. So I would say for your HR professionals out there, they know the leadership in the organization. And in their heads, they probably know the one that would be open to talking about this. I would start there. Also, in your HR community, who are other people that think this is a kind of a good idea? Like, let's move forward with this. Start talking to people that you can talk about it together and not get a lot of, well, it won't work, and it won't work because of this, and it won't work because of that. How can it work is the mindset you're looking for. And then I often say to organizations that are, say, 300 people or over, what you want to do is have a prototype. Because if you can prototype it, which is an incubation in your culture, then your leadership can see how it works without making that leap for everybody in the organization right away. We've found that in bigger organizations, 300 or more, up to thousands, the incubation is important, and we can help with that. We can help you through the whole change process, understanding your culture, incubating it. You're going to be running around the halls. Yay! This is working. Look at how it's working. Here's all the measures. Here's all the measures that we as an organization are trying to move forward. And then you can prove it out. The proof is in the incubation or the prototype.
Great. So if anybody is interested in this, please give me an email and I will forward it to Jody and link the two of you together. And you also wrote, together with Cali Ressler, I believe?
Yes.
2 very good books.
Yes. Why work sucks and how to fix it, and why managing sucks and how to fix that. So have fun with those. It's the manifesto of the idea and a little bit of how to do it. But just like anything, it's not as easy as it seems. And we want to help. We want to help people get to the other side. So let's do it.
Thank you. That's really very, 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 very great. And I believe it's a bit of the mission of HR Fest is that maybe we are naive, but we believe that people might actually enjoy what they do, might actually spend their lives in a meaningful way. Everybody, not just the 1% who is rich or the other 5% who is saving dolphins from the oceans, but basically everybody.
That's right, everybody. And HR is in just a perfect position right now to start helping us advance. Exactly. We're in a perfect position.
Exactly. So we can change the world, and I think that's the
absolutely.
Thank you very much, Jody.
Thank you. It was great to be here today, and I hope we see each other again.
Yes, you're welcome to Hungary. Hopefully you can actually come, which means that there is travel and there is no virus.
Right, exactly.
Let's keep in touch and just keep on what you are doing, because it's really important for lots of people.
Thank you very much. It was great to be here, and hope to see you guys again.
Take care. Ciao. Bye bye.